see myself as a global citizen. I've still got a home in the UK in Beaconsfield. Dubai has definitely become a central hub for us. When you're tying yourself into one country, I think it's a bad mindset. What happens if taxes in Dubai go up to 50%? And I did say to Nigel Farage, if I don't get a Christmas card from Keir Starmer personally thanking me for the millions of pounds that I pay in taxes, I'm leaving the UK.
Samuel Leeds, the UK property mogul who's built a multi-million pound empire, closing over 1,000 deals and mentoring thousands to financial freedom through his renowned academy. Recently, he's made a bold move, relocating to Dubai as a true global citizen, ditching high UK taxes for tax-free living, luxury beachfront renting, and massive new investing opportunities in the UAE. If you're tired of being tied down by location, taxes or limits and are ready to think bigger, build sovereign wealth and design the life you want, then this episode shows you how to break free and become self-unemployed. But I feel like the barrier to entry is a lot lower than people think. It's just the mindset.
Given my skill set of understanding about property and real estate, I plan to absolutely clean up this year, selling deals. There's also huge demand, loads of people looking for deals in Dubai. I can't imagine it will take me more than 6 months to do that from scratch. I think we want to be sovereign business people to say, you know what, I've got a residency here, I've got a residency there, I've got a passport there, I've got multiple properties, I've got a company that's structured in such a way where I'm not tied to one country. I think it makes sense, but that's just my opinion.
So, Samuel, thank you for inviting me to your house again, this time in Dubai.
You always seem to get to my beach houses. You've never actually been to my
No, I haven't, no.
normal house. But here we are again, thank you.
Yeah, here we are in Dubai, but we've got a lot more to talk about now.
Yeah, sure.
Because you've moved out to Dubai. I've been on the academy and my life has changed since that first episode I did with you.
Yeah, you've done really well, by the way, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you and to see your growth and see the growth of the channel. I remember when you first started it, and I was rooting for you then and rooting for you now, and you've had some great, interesting guests. So, no, it's a real pleasure.
And it's been a real privilege to be able to sit down with people. Even just, you don't sit down with anyone for an hour and have a heart-to-heart conversation in a normal life these days.
Do you know what also it is? If you say to a busy person who's super successful that you might want to have a meeting with, hey, are you free for an hour to meet and sit down? They're probably going to say no, or speak to my PA. But if you say, hey, you're free to come on my podcast, then you're more likely to get a yes, because then it's going to go out and they're going to be able to clip it up and use it for marketing. So it's a great way to have a podcast to actually sit with interesting people as well.
Yeah.
Have you found that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a real privilege, like I was saying. So, so thank you for having me on again.
Awesome.
Coming on again. So, we're out in Dubai. Things have changed a lot over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Why? So you've sort of moved out here?
Yeah, kind of. I see myself as a global citizen as opposed to this is my home. This is, you know what I mean? Like, so I've still got a home in the UK in Beaconsfield, Buckinghamshire. I've got rid of my Sandbanks property, which doesn't make the one you visited.
That's where we were.
It doesn't make sense to have a beach house in England when you've got a beach house in Dubai. Property here, and then also we travel a lot. We've got Amanda's got a family home in Zimbabwe, so we're going to be spending quite a bit of time there this year. But yeah, Dubai has definitely become a central hub for us.
And so the way that you see yourself as like a global citizen, is that a new thing? Because you've always had homes abroad, but has that changed and evolved?
More so, yeah. Partly because of Keir Starmer, I didn't want to be stuck in a country where we've got digital ID being forced, exit tax talked about, which means that we can tax you whatever we want. We can tax you 99%, and even if we tax you so bad that you say, you know what, I'm leaving, you have to pay 50% of your net worth. Like, I'm just not prepared to be in a country, stuck in a country. I don't mind being in a country, but also having passports and residencies elsewhere, but being stuck in a country like that solely, no. That was a big, and I did say to Nigel Farage when we sat down for an interview, I said, if I don't get a Christmas card from Keir Starmer personally thanking me for the millions of pounds that I pay in taxes, I'm leaving the UK. And I meant that when I said it. And
you didn't get it, presumably.
On the 26th of December, 2025, I said to Amanda, pack your bags. And she said, you're joking. No, pack your bags. We're going. So and we've actually not been back since.
So there was that, but you hadn't, that was when you decided? That recently?
Yeah, last month.
Because that was only a month ago.
I mean, we already had this property as a bit of a, but we don't own this. This is a house we rent.
One of the key things to understand about building wealth is that money is a form of wealth, but it's not a very good one because it's falling in value due to inflation. The target is for 2% inflation. Recently, it's been much higher. So even in a good year, money is losing its value. So wealthy people do not have lots of money. What they do have is assets. Stocks, silver and gold, even crypto are assets that will go up as the value of money falls. And one of the best assets to invest in is property. It's extremely difficult to build wealth by trading your time for money in a regular job like most people do. But we're not like other people. You'll have seen how many of my guests are using various strategies to build their wealth through property. People like Albert and Chris doing a strategy called BRR. John using a creative way to finance investments without any of his own money. Yolanda, who's doing amazing things in social housing. Shannon and Jag are making money from property they don't even own with rent-to-rent and serviced accommodation. And other guests like Elijah and 17-year-old Kane are making money just by finding good deals and selling them on. All of these guests have learned these strategies from Samuel Leeds and his Property Investors Academy. So if you're interested in building your wealth through property, even if you don't have money to invest, Samuel is running a free webinar where you can learn more about all of these strategies. There's a link in the description to sign up, and it's free, so you've got nothing to lose. There's so much more to the Academy than just the training, and I don't have time to go into all of it now, but this free webinar is a great first step.
That's what I mean about global citizen now. In fact, the worst thing I ever did was buy my house in Britain. Because I used to think back in the day, for listening to Grant Cardone says, don't buy your house.
Yeah.
Because if you buy your house, it's a liability. So instead, you want to buy assets that produce an income, and then with that income, rent. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So I always rented. But then when it got to the point where I was very wealthy, and got to the point where I got millions of pounds in the bank, I thought, you know what? For me now, it makes sense to buy a house. Because that advice is good for people that are starting out. But for me, you know, I got 4 kids, and I wanted to settle, and I bought a house. And it was the most ridiculous thing I ever did because, well, for many reasons, but firstly, because you outgrow it as your business is growing up and up and up and up. Like the house that I bought in UK, I bought it for £3 million. And at the time when I bought it, I thought, this is nice, this is big.
It was a forever home.
Yeah, but then after about a year and a half, I had another kid. And suddenly I'd been inspired and I've got a lot more money. And now I'm like, actually, this house is tiny. So it's the same when people say to me, should I buy a house? I'm like, if you buy a house now, the house that you buy in 2 years, you'll have outgrown it anyway. You want to buy something else.
Yeah.
Whereas
and a house like that, it's not really a good investment to rent out.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But same as this. This house that we're in right now. Do you know how much this would be? I don't know if you've heard before. Maybe I've told you.
I've heard you say, I mean, it's probably tens of millions.
Yes.
It's
tens of millions of pounds to buy it. I think this was valued at around about 110 million dirham, which is like over 20 million.
2 million,
Over 20 million. However, I'm renting it for just over £500,000 a year. So £500,000 a year.
It's 5%.
Yeah. Like,
yield.
it's not that much.
Yeah.
£500,000 a year. Okay, fine. But buying it for 20, like the person that owns this is only making probably a net yield of around 3.5%.
Yeah.
So why would I buy this house? And then it means in 2 years' time when I want to move to the Jebel Ali new palm, the bigger and better palm that's not built yet, I'll be like, oh man, I wanted to move there. Who knows? I'm tying yourself down. You're fixing yourself to one country. What happens if taxes in Dubai go up to 50%? I mean, that's not going to happen. But or what happens if there's a war? Or what happens if? Who knows? When you're tying yourself into one country with this is my home. I think it's a bad mindset. I think we want to be sovereign business people, sovereign individuals that say, you know what? I've got a residency here, I've got a residency there, I've got a passport there, I've got multiple properties, I've got a company that's structured in such a way where I'm not tied to one country. I think it makes sense, but that's just my opinion.
So a lot of people would say, you know, oh, you need to be super rich to think like that. But I feel like the barrier to entry is a lot lower than people think. It's just the mindset that is wrong. Well,
nowadays, most people are now working from home. So even if you're an employee and you're working from home, you could probably persuade your boss, look, man, as long as I'm hitting my KPIs, do you mind? I'm planning on going... Listen, this is what you say to your boss. I'm planning on going to Bali, Thailand, wherever, Dubai, for 6 weeks. Rather than taking unpaid leave, I actually think I'll be able to get more work done because the Wi-Fi is going to be faster. It's going to be a better setup. There's an office at the property that I'm going to be at. Would it be okay if I work from home for those 6 weeks? And if my, if I'm not getting my job done, let me know. But I'm very confident that I will actually smash my KPIs. What boss, what employer is going to say no? Then you do that for 6 weeks, and after 6 weeks, you know what? It's going really well. Could I extend it for another 6 weeks? Before you know it, you can live in a better country with better weather, with better taxes, which is maybe a lot cheaper to live in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, so yeah, I think the barrier to entry is a lot lower.
Yeah. I mean, I did that. I went to Paraguay for a few months and ended up staying 7 years.
And taxes are very nice there, right?
Yeah. I need to look at that again because since I left, loads of high-rise buildings have gone up. It's really changing place. Dubai sort of reminds me of Paraguay.
It's one of the places that I looked at. I've not been there, but it's one of the places I looked at. Yeah.
Well, I could show you around Paraguay.
Mate, it sounds fun.
Yeah, we'll do a
little site tour. I will end up buying a property there if I go there. Though. I can't help myself. I can't go somewhere on holiday and not buy. It just always happens.
Really? Okay. Well, let's do that. So I'm sort of I have an advantage over most people because I am multicultural. I've lived in another country, but so I see other people with such closed minds, and I'm seeing people open their minds as they've come here with us on this trip.
Yeah, I brought 40 people out here, yourself included, just for a few days, and many people are staying for longer. But there's been a bunch of people that have said, "I'm moving," or "I'm setting up a company here," or "I'm investing in a property here. I'm getting a residency here."
Which opens up possibilities for the future. And
everybody should get a golden visa in Dubai, or at least get a residency elsewhere, even if it's just as an exit strategy, as a backup, to be like, okay, if it gets too bad, I can jump on a plane. Yeah, it makes sense.
And it just broadens your horizon as well. Makes you think differently.
100%.
Yeah. So let's go back to the UK. I mean, I feel like things are just getting worse and worse and worse. And it can't just be because it's so hard to fix the problems, because I don't think the problems are that difficult to fix. There's so many things they should do that should be easy.
100%.
The more and more I think about it, the more I think they can't be that stupid. There's got to be some evil in there. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely things that are happening, like even the immigration situation where people are coming illegally, and the amount of people that are doing that and that are being welcomed in, and then Home Office taking 2-3 years to go through their status. Meanwhile, the government are spending £4,000 per month per person, and people are getting frustrated. And it's almost like it's being done on purpose just to piss people off. It is. Well, and then the taxes again, like the taxes.
But that £4,000 you talk about, that's not going to the immigrants. It's being spent on the immigrants, but to someone else.
No, meanwhile, the immigrants, the poor immigrants that are coming, who I don't blame, are not even allowed to work. They're being told, you can't work. And we're going to, until we've found out your status in this and that and the other, you can't work. And, sorry, it's been 4 years.
Well, another story that was on the side of this not long ago was that a lot of them were working illegally doing Deliveroo and stuff like that. And I was like, at least they're doing something constructive.
Right.
At least they're not going out stealing people's mobile phones.
Well, that's the thing in Dubai. In Dubai, people come from Pakistan and India and Congo and all over the world, and they work in jobs for very low hourly rates. But at least they can work, because when you can work, when you've got a complete free market, what happens is you can then work good, you can impress people, you can show your skills, and then before you know it, you're getting promotions, and that can happen.
The important thing is that we have a kind of social mobility that people can, but that's what we're losing, I think. The ability to actually, for your hard work to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I agree.
So what would you do then if you were, if you were in charge?
If I was in charge of the UK?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't envy whoever's in charge of a country. It's easy to moan and ridicule and point fingers, but I think running a country, you're never going to keep everybody happy. However, if I was in charge of the country, I think for a start, I would incentivize entrepreneurs. I would celebrate entrepreneurs instead of making them feel penalised. There are thousands of people leaving the UK and going to places like Dubai and Portugal, Italy, and they're being welcomed. Portugal brought in their golden visa and certain breaks for wealthy people to come in because they want wealthy people in the country because they know that they're going to come in and spend money, bring employment.
But it's so obvious that that's a good thing.
It's so obvious, but the UK doesn't seem to realise that. So I think...
Well, yeah, but why? How? This is what I'm saying. It can't be that they're just stupid and don't realise it, because it's so obvious that we need the rich people, we need the wealth creators. We don't want that to, they pay a disproportionately large amount of tax. So everyone that leaves means everyone else has got the middle class and the poor have to pay more in tax in the long run. So what's going on? Like, there's got to be, the politicians can't be that dumb.
Yeah, you know what? I don't like to obsess too much over thinking about why is that. Is there even much why? Why are they doing this? Why is it so bad? I prefer to think, what can I do with the rules in order to have a really good life, impact people positively, have happy staff, happy customers, happy family, and make a lot of money?
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life. Jim Rohn says, don't sign up for that. Why is this way? Why is this way? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I am just going to learn the rules of the game and play to win. So there's loads of things in the UK that's terrible. However, it can change quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that with the right, I mean, if reform get in, for example, I personally think that could be a massive, massive win. And suddenly, imagine if income tax suddenly goes down to whatever percent, whatever they're talking about.
A few good changes will have long.
Yeah, absolutely. And then suddenly, maybe everyone will move back. And then before you know it, it doesn't take a lot to fix the immigration issue. If Home Office just sorted themselves out, I mean, the councils and Home Office and the government, they are the most poorly ran operation. And what are they doing as a result? Saying, oh, actually, you can work just 4 days a week and you can work from home. And do you know what I mean? It needs to be run like a business. I think countries need to be run like a business. I also don't even agree with the minimum wage. I think that the minimum wage should be abolished.
Yeah, I mean, we lived without it for a long time. That only came in the
I think it should be abolished.
late 90s.
And then let people come into the country, but let them work.
Yeah.
For goodness sake. And then maybe then they won't come on boats. Let them come in, let them work.
Yeah, I like the way they do it in Dubai.
It would fix the housing problem. There's a housing crisis in England right now because there's a shortage of houses. And there's a big reason there's a shortage of houses because as developers like myself and you, it's difficult to build houses because it costs so much.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? How do we bring it down? Well, we can bring materials down, we can bring labour down. How do we bring labour down? Maybe we let all these people that want to come in, let them work. But don't
just don't give them the right to,
free healthcare, free this, free that, minimum wage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you become more like the UAE.
Yeah.
Which clearly is working. In business, it's about who's doing what. And people love to say, oh, it's only because UAE have got so much oil. No.
No,
it's
I
because
think it's 3% or something.
It's because they run the country like a business.
Yes.
That's why. Whereas in the UK, they don't. And you can just see that looking at the NHS. It's not ran like a business.
No.
How would you feel, Colin, if one of your employees acted like how the staff work at NHS? I'm not knocking the staff at NHS. They're just underworked. Like if that was a business.
Well, a lot of doctors say when they work for the NHS, they'll do like 3 procedures a day, but then they go and do work for a private company
I know doctors at the NHS that make $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And they spend £80,000 getting qualified to be a doctor, making $3,000 a month. It's just a joke. So, I mean...
But the NHS isn't making the most of those skills because they make them do so much admin and stuff and waste their time.
Yeah.
When they could be doing 8 procedures a day instead of 3 procedures a day.
Yeah.
By just having a more efficient system.
It's a shambles.
I had Minho Lee on, and he was telling me all about that stuff, and So we're in Dubai now. Then what are your plans then for here? What's your plans for the future then?
Well, I'm investing in Dubai. I'm also looking at other places, some of the surrounding areas in the Middle East. I'm looking at Abu Dhabi, even Saudi Arabia. Russell was there over the weekend, and they just, I think it was just last month, they now allow foreign investors to invest in certain parts of Saudi Arabia, which is quite exciting. So yeah, there's also loads and loads of things. I mean, we've been speaking about this throughout the week, but there's a lot of business opportunities here in the UAE, such as deal sourcing. I mean, in the UK, deal sourcers are almost seen as a bit of a, you what? You're charging me how much to find a deal, which I can find online myself. Whereas in the UAE, it's very normal. In fact, everyone's a deal sourcer in the UAE. You get on a taxi and they'll try to sell you a deal. Everyone's a deal sourcer. And there's a lot of people doing it. So there's a lot of supply of deal sourcers. There's also huge demand. Loads of people looking for deals in Dubai. So I think, given my skill set of being able to sell, given my skill set of understanding about property and real estate, as I'm learning the market, as I'm investing myself, I plan to absolutely clean up this year, selling deals.
So in a way, you're sort of going back to the beginning, starting again with not you obviously know other things as well, but you're sort of
but just with a fire under me, because now I've got the team, I've got the branding, I've got the knowledge, the business acumen to actually. I mean, it took me about 6-7 years to become a millionaire from deal sourcing, whereas now I can't imagine it will take me more than 6 months to do that from scratch. Also investing heavily in the UK still, but I definitely don't think the UK is a bad place to invest. I mean, if you go around here in Dubai, I don't know if you've had the chance to speak to any Emiratis or any of the wealthy people that live in Dubai. The expats all come to Dubai from UK and America and all over the world, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to invest in the UAE. But actually, a lot of people that live here, they invest here, yes, but they're also investing where? In the UK. And in the States.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting.
Well, there it's like you say, you want to spread yourself out,
diversify.
Different,
absolutely.
Doing,
So I'm investing in the UK, but more so rather than for cash flow, because I'm going to get taxed on property still. It's in the UK, so it's more a case of buying stuff, increasing the value, and then recycling that equity to buy more. I'm just growing my pot in the UK. But then my fast pound trading businesses that I'm setting up this year are more going to be in the UAE.
Now, your faith is very important to you. You're a Christian.
Yep.
And obviously Dubai is UAE is an Islamic country. Was that something that worried you at all, or?
It's something that I looked into. Yeah, it is, because I didn't want to be in a situation whereby I couldn't go to church. I couldn't talk about my faith, because my faith as a Christian in Jesus is a massive part of who I am. It's a massive part of my business. I definitely didn't want to be clamped in that regards, but after looking into it and after spending a bit of time here traveling, I came to the conclusion, actually, I think as a Christian, you're probably more persecuted in the UK than you are in UAE. And more free. And the churches here are thriving. My church has got 6,000 people, the one I go to in Dubai, and it's got 3 services. It's just packed, thousands of people. So, there's no issues there. I think unless you're speaking against Islam, which I wouldn't want to do anyway, because I think Islam is a religion which I respect, deeply. So I wouldn't want to speak badly about it. Never have. I've always been a fan of people that are good people that believe in God, and have integrity. So I've got a lot of Muslim students on the academy. We've got Islamic finance, which I set up, years ago.
So how does that work? What's the difference?
With the Islamic finance? Islamic finance it's basically like bridging finance. So if you wanted to buy a house and you needed finance, I could loan you the money. So, you need 100 grand, here you go, bap, here's 100 grand. You need to give me now 1% a month. That will be bridging finance, as you know it.
Yeah.
Islamic finance is different.
Because you can't charge interest.
Correct. So there's different ways it's structured, but the way that we've done it, when we've done it with our savings finance company, it's called Murabaha, and how it works is, you want to buy a house, and the house is worth 100 grand, and you want to buy it. Well, what we'll do is, we'll buy it, Samuel Leeds Finance, for 95 grand, and then we'll sell it to you for 100 grand. But you'll buy it over a period of time and pay installments.
Yeah.
And then when you finish paying installments, then it's yours. So it's basically just structured differently so that you're not paying interest. Some people got really upset with me when I started my Islamic finance company, and they were like, so it's just for Muslims? You're discriminating against us? And it's like, well, no. Firstly, you can apply for Islamic finance and be a Christian if you really want. But it wouldn't make any sense, because you're not going to save any money it's just structured in a different way. And the reason I set it up was because I'm all about equal opportunity, and I want everybody to be able to get into property. And Colin, you know how much I detest excuses. And I was having so many Muslims that were saying to me, "Oh, it's different for me though, because in our religion we can't." And I'm like, how do I shut these people up? I know, Islamic finance. And they're still, most of them are still broke, and they're still like, "Oh, it's different for me because I can't get it." You can, Islamic finance. But I haven't got a car and I can't find it. There'll always be an excuse. But that's what I did. But there's been some people, it's not been like anywhere near as popular as just normal finance, but we have done, I think, three loans. The first one was Elijah. Which was great, and it's something that is there for academy members. It's there, and it eliminates excuses. But yeah, no, I felt very welcomed here as a Christian. I go to church, but also I respect Islam. I've never met a Muslim who has been anything other than really nice and humble and kind. I mean, a lot of people. I think there's a lot of hate on social media and in the media. It's very complex, actually, because some people would argue that the media will defend Muslims to the point of covering up things, and that's happened too. But then there's also a lot of people attacking, Muslims unfairly, and at the end of the day, people are people. There's good and bad everywhere. There's good and bad Christians. There's good and bad atheists. There's good and bad Muslims. But my experience is every Muslim I've ever met has just been a really nice person.
Yeah. It feels like the media has to sort of, or maybe it doesn't have to, but it wants to label people and group people.
Yeah.
And then create division.
Yeah.
Because then, that's what gets people angry, and that's what gets people watching and clicking.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's destroying civilization.
It is, but that's also the government as well, though, because if the government want to do something, if the government want to bring in a new tax, okay, well, if I do that, everyone's going to be annoyed. So why don't we get them all arguing about Black Lives Matter and all distracted, and then we'll increase stamp duty, and then we'll continue with the stealth tax, and no one's talking about it because we're too busy talking about, race and religion and actually wealth people. I mean, if you look at this trip we did, yesterday we had 35, 40 people in our private yachts, drinking, having fun, talking business. We had Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, atheists, black, white, brown, people from Philippines, Africa, Caribbean, England,
Jamaica.
And is anybody talking about race? No. Is anybody talking about...
And that's something that has actually struck me about the academy. Yeah. It's super diverse compared to any other
We've got
group.
gay people, straight people. We've got people...
young, old, 17 to...
Right.
To
got 17-year-old.
Maybe not 80, but 70s.
We've definitely had a lot of people in their 70s. I don't know about 80. But and is anyone talking about it? Is anyone talking about age? Is anyone talking about race? Anyone talking about religion? No. In fact, you can speak about it, and if people disagree, if I say to academy members, and I'm the leader, but if I say, "Oh, I'm a Christian and I believe this," people might just go, "Oh, that's interesting. I don't." And then we can have champagne together.
Yeah, and I feel like within that community, I think it's because we've all got a common thing, which is our interest in property,
and making
that's
money.
what unites. Yeah, and that's what so that unites us. So we don't need to look for things that divide us.
Well, you know what it reminds me of, Colin? When I was 17 and I was starting out in property, I went to a PIN meeting. You know PIN? Property Investors Network. I went to a PIN meeting, and there was a guy there, middle-aged guy, and I can't remember exactly what he said to me, but he asked me how old I am, and I said 17. And then he advised me to grow a moustache. He said, "You know what? People will take you more seriously if you had a moustache because no one's going to do business with a 17-year-old." And I remember at the time feeling very embarrassed about that. Now I wouldn't care, but at the time I'm just like, oh man, wow. Oh. Because someone asking you how old you are when you're already a bit uncomfortable about your age, and you're thinking, I hope no one's thinking anything, I hope no one's thinking I'm really young, I hope people are taking me serious, then you've got a guy coming up to you and go, how old are you? That's awkward. And then saying, you should grow a moustache because people might take you more seriously. And I'm like, oh, geez. And I felt very uncomfortable, and it knocked me a bit. And 6 months later, I was at that same PIN meeting in in Birmingham. Or
With a
backcountry.
moustache?
No, I didn't grow. I couldn't even grow a moustache. I tried. I couldn't. And I had I'd been out on some property viewings, and I'd actually got a couple of really nice HMOs in Wolverhampton, and I stood up at the PIN meeting. I think I might have just turned 18 at this point, and I said, "Hey, I've got a couple of HMOs. These are the figures." And I knew what I was talking about because I had a HMO myself. I'd packaged and sold a few, so I kind of knew what I was talking about. And I said, if anyone's interested, come and hit me up. And that guy that judged me and was like, "You need to grow a moustache," he came up to me and went, "Oh, what's this HMO? What is it?" And he ended up buying a deal from me. And it made me think, he judged me. He was basically, you could argue, potentially being ageist. At least I felt that. But then when I produced something valuable, he's like,
Forgot about that.
"You know what? Forget it. Give me that deal." And he paid me $3,000. And I gave him a HMO, it's making him $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And in the same way, I think if you're like, let's say you're a woman. Now, some people might treat you, I know a lot of look at Charlotte Busby. Charlotte Busby is very young. I think how old is she now? I don't know, very young, attractive, and she's a woman. And she is very successful, has members of staff and people working for her. But when she's doing viewings or when she's selling a deal or whatever, sometimes people will be like, "So can I speak to the owner?" And she's like, "I am the owner." So she gets discrimination as a woman. You might get it if you're of a certain race, if you're a person of colour, people not 100% treating you that serious maybe because they're a tiny bit racist. But actually, if you can just be like, "I'm just going to be really valuable. I'm just going to find deals that are so good."
Yeah. And I feel like that's something I've been saying a lot recently, is I feel like people don't realise their own value. They think, "Oh, yeah, I might have all these property invested, all these deals and stuff, but I'm only 17, therefore no one's going to want to listen to me."
Yeah, you can't be a victim. And listen, I've done financial freedom challenges with people. I've mentored people who are absolutely discriminated against. I mean, I've seen it.
I've seen
it firsthand. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, it doesn't exist. No one ever. No, absolutely. I've been discriminated against for my age. I've been discriminated against for being from working class, from the black country. I've got dyslexia. I've got ADHD. I've always been the black sheep. I might be a white dude, but I'm still black sheep. So I know what it's like to be discriminated against. I've seen it firsthand with my students, and it might be that you have to work a little bit harder. It might be that you have to, but the reality is you can't just go, it can become an excuse. I'm a woman or I'm black.
Because I think life is unfair for everyone. And if you have one of these labels attached to you, black, gay, straight, well, not straight,
well, maybe.
Maybe soon, trans, bald, fat, even male, whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
Then you can say, "Oh, that's unfair," and it must be because I'm whatever your label.
No,
but it's just normal life being unfair.
And we've got, as you say, I've got all types on the academy.
Yeah.
And one thing in common, which is that we all want to win. And
we want to help each
absolutely.
other.
So, yeah. But it was great on the yacht, just seeing all the different, the different types of people from different backgrounds, different races, different nationalities, but all winning. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's almost exactly 2 years since I sat down at the deal selling masterclass.
Okay.
Next to Tony. I sat down next to Tony Fleming on my first day, and we were like, "Wow, in a couple of days it'll be the two-year anniversary, and here we are."
That's crazy.
In the water.
And he's done really well.
Yeah.
It was great though, just jumping off into the water, and that's what life's about.
Yeah. It's amazing how much things can change in such a short amount of time, really. Because before that I was at Amazon, and I was there for like 4 years, but like so much more has happened. I've grown so much more as a person in the last 2 years than I did in the previous 4 whatever or more.
Yeah.
And it's because, and it's not just about property. The academy's created so many opportunities for me.
Yeah. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. And support.
Yeah, it's a community though. That's what it is. It's, people sometimes say to me, like, "Oh, you've changed my life," or "You've really helped me." And sure, but I see myself as a door opener. Yeah. I'll open the door. Hey, come on in. And then you come on in and you meet this person and that person. You know what I mean? So it's really, I think the academy, more than just the training and the mentoring and all that good stuff, it's really the community. Yeah. And sometimes I see myself almost like a member. Especially when it comes to the high flyers, like when we do trips and retreats and we go, I don't know, you coming skiing in December?
I haven't booked.
Oh, bro, I have to get you on that. But anyway, like this week when I'm just around, I'm in the yacht and I'm just like a member. If I need something now in property, I did it. I called on Damien. I needed to get some access to some properties and some things done. And I called Damien and he sorted it out like that. So it's great for me, even selfishly. I mean, most of the deals that I buy from Academy members. Most of the money that I make from within the Academy. I mean, my bridging finance company, which I think is going to make me a billionaire, who are taking the loans? Academy members. My Deal Connect, the properties that I'm personally buying. Where am I buying them from? Academy members. Like, it's an ecosystem which I'm personally tapping into.
Yeah.
And also encouraging other people. Do you know what I mean? Come join the Academy, tap into it. And the pie is big enough for property is lucrative. If there's a lucrative deal, the lender's making money, the builder's making money, the investor's making money, the sourcer's making money on one property. And when I started out, I needed money. I needed people to invest in my deals. Now, I don't need money. I've got money. I need people to go and find the deals. I need people to... So it's almost like a partnership.
Yeah.
That's even this week as well. I'll tell you another thing. Sorry, Colin, but
no, go.
The marketing, like the amount of videos that my guy was getting this week of me, that wouldn't have been able to happen because people are asking me questions about property and we're talking, and then Noah's filming it. They're going to bang. So there's just, for me, abundance, collaboration, as opposed to people thinking competitively. I think he's huge. And people ask me all the time, what do you teach? Why do you teach people about property when you can just do property? And it's like, because you can't just do property without people.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire.
No, there's not.
Because you've got to have customers, you've got to have suppliers,
Yeah.
at least, you know. And
Exactly. Money comes from people
and
not property.
giving value.
Like when, people say, that house makes me $1,000, that house makes me $2,000, that house... No. The tenants that live there, you got to see your tenants as your customers.
Yeah.
I see the Academy members as customers and investors and partners and friends potentially, but they're customers.
But the Academy is a bit different because some of your critics online will say, oh, he's not, why would you want to learn from him because he's just making money from selling courses.
Yeah.
And anyone who's actually on the Academy knows that the courses are like, you might buy it for that, but then you realise that's just a tiny part of it.
Yeah.
And really it's the community and everything. But you don't need to make money from the Academy, because there's so much that goes back in.
I personally don't make anything from the 12 grands.
Yeah.
So if someone pays £12,000 to join the Academy, that money never touches my personal bank. That money stays in there. However, the back end of the...
because you're building something, like you said, that you can tap into. You're making money from...
But I'll put that money, that 12,000, I'll invest it back into the Academy to be able to put on supreme things.
Yeah.
Like dinners and events and brilliant mentors. We've just hired, I think you might know this already, but we've just hired 2 new mentors. We've got a new solicitor.
Right.
And we've got a new chartered surveyor, Ben, who's a chartered surveyor. Like hiring chartered surveyors and solicitors and to be able to keep giving unlimited support, that's expensive. So it comes out of the 12,000.
But also things like Deal Connect and even just like the point system we got, the gamification, that sort of thing's not cheap to set up.
No, it's not. but the bigger it grows, the more money we can pour into it. Yeah. But I think people are getting that now, though. I think like but you've been watching me for obviously many years, and you've been on the Academy, I think, two. But when like in 2018, 2019, even early 2020, 2021, there was a lot of skepticism. Like, but I think Winners on a Wednesday has been going now for like 7-8 years. The amount of if someone goes online now and says something bad about me or bad about the Academy, or even it's not even about me, it's the brand, isn't it? If someone says Samuel Ludes is full of shit, they don't even mean me, the person. They mean that company, that. So now you're going to get Academy members jumping on, going, actually, I made 10 grand last month, and there's so many. It's hard to argue. Results don't lie.
A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Ginny and Jer for the podcast.
Oh, they're amazing.
And I was looking into them, and I found Jer's first Winners on a Wednesday, and it was like number 25 or 30. Or
Sure,
something.
I remember
and
that.
now there's what, like 600? No,
No,
maybe
not that many.
No.
I think about 350.
354, yeah.
It's hard to know though, because now we also have 2 a week. So now we have the
Yeah.
winners on a Wednesday, the documentary. We have it's just hundreds and hundreds.
And that was partly why I changed, because I was like watching these thinking, there's a lot of success coming out of this. These can't all be actors, which is what some
That's
people
what people
say.
said in the early days.
Ridiculous,
When Jim and Joe on is number 25, people are like, that's just another actor.
Well, people have accused me of my podcast being paid by the banks or because the property market. Everyone knows the property market's dead now.
Yeah.
This guy must be being paid by the banks.
Colin,
or
I
something.
don't
Ridiculous.
even look at the comments too often these days now though. Like I might jump on for the first hour and just but
Bees don't try to convince flies that honey is better than shit.
right.
Just let the flies eat shit.
And eagles don't try and convince pigeons to fly. Well, pigeons do fly. That was probably a bad example.
I think my bees one was better.
But yeah, absolutely. The bee one and the honey one was definitely better. But yeah, you just got to just fly and invite people.
Yeah.
You know? But then the other end of the extreme is what people do when they climb up the ladder and they get to where they want to get to and then kick the ladder behind them. I never want to be that person. You know.
You said something yesterday that was really good about that. Because you were saying like you brought everyone up and you brought them with you, and now they're all here with you on the boat in Dubai.
Oh yeah. I remember what I said. I said, becoming successful and getting to the top of your game can be very lonely. Because if you become successful and you're the first person in your family, and then what? You leave work, which sounds great. Leave work, but actually, where are most of your friends? Probably in work. What are your family doing? Probably going to work. So you know what I mean? It can be quite lonely.
Yeah.
Come out to Dubai, yeah. I'm by myself. So I think teaching other people, it's actually cheaper to teach people than it is to pay for them. I would rather be like, you know what? Let me teach you guys how to become successful, and then you'll be able to afford to come out and then pay for everybody. So I think, it can be lonely, and most of my deepest relationships now are people that probably at some point have either been through the academy or are involved in some way. Even like my own mom, she helps, within the academy, and my sister does as well. My brother, we work together. It's a real family business, and my closest friends, there was 40 people on the yacht yesterday, and I consider a lot of close friends. We talk, and they came out here. We were boxing and moving around. You had a fight. Well, you went yesterday.
No,
did you skip that?
I've been busy filming podcasts.
You've been busy. You have. You've been back to back.
Which
is great.
No, but I wish I could have.
I respect the hustle, though, man.
Yeah.
If Jag was here, though, your opponent, who you beat up.
I did another episode with him.
Mate, if you fought him now, he's been trained. I think that was close anyway.
Yeah.
That was the best fight.
That's what everyone was saying.
That was the
we
best
were
fight.
talking about that.
It was
and
a
how that
dog
just
fight.
blows our minds.
Well, because there was some fights that were very, very, very beginner level, which is fine. And then there was some fights like Camden and Jack and Tommy Cleary, and that just looked like a. But your fight was kind of like a dog fight. It was almost like a street fight.
Yeah.
And it was great.
But what's so weird is that I love Jag. He's such a nice guy. In some ways, I can't imagine having a fight with him, but I did. But I don't really see the man that was in the ring as the same person. That
you leave it in the ring.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I say leave it in the ring.
Yeah. And we talked about maybe would we have a rematch, and possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Well, we'll be doing it again. We'll be doing Millionaire Smackdown again, 100%.
I need to. I have not been like Jag. I've only been trained twice since the fight.
That's what I say. If you put him right now, mate, he's improved.
I need to get back in
Yeah.
it. But what I focused more on my boxing technique, and I should have focused more on my fitness, because you could tell. Second, third round,
the fittest man will win in white collar boxing generally.
Yeah.
The fitter man will win.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of work to do there still, but we've got a few months. So that's going to be an annual thing now. Yep, for sure.
I wouldn't say it's an annual thing, but I would say we'll just keep doing it until it flops. Nothing stops.
Yeah, and it was such a great event.
It was.
Having the commentators as well.
It was
and it
great.
being live streamed. Because if people had said, if it was just a smaller crowd and just friends had said to me, oh yeah, it was one of the best fights of the night, I would be like, oh yeah, just saying that because we're friends. We're just two fat middle-aged men not boxing very well. But the fact that there were commentators there and they had genuine compliments to say.
It was the best fight of the night. It was. And it was so close.
And I won it.
And that for you, that's. But Jag is such a stand-up guy, isn't he? Yes. I love Jag. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And it was such a great night. And then, in less than a month later, we had the awards night. And actually, that was the same day I recorded my success stories, which is coming out soon.
Amazing.
So it was a mental month.
And you got an award-winning podcast now from the Academy, so that's a nice win.
And you know what? On that night, everyone's like filming the announcements, and then I got the announcement from lots of different angles sent to me. But there was one in particular who I don't really know the guy. I've met him. I know I've met him. But he was filming, and before you announced it, I heard him say, "Go on, Colin," from behind the camera. It's someone I don't really know. And it just made me think, up until that point, when you do a YouTube channel or something like that, you see the views as your audience as like a number. But it made me realise that every one of those numbers is a person, and they're only there in that number because they're getting some value from it. Yeah. And it really, winning the award was great, but also it helped me realise the value that people are getting.
Absolutely.
And it's really helped. That's been amazing for me.
And also as well, if you see you got like 500 views on a video, for example, you might think, oh, that's not that many. But actually, if you imagine 500 people in a room, that's a lot. That's a full room.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes.
And I think that sometimes when I'm trying to get people on the show, it's like they're happily doing it in a circle to 20 people. I'm like, 1,000 people will watch an episode of the podcast,
and they can clip it up.
Yeah. And it'll always be there.
It's time-stamped.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to come on your podcast and go on other podcasts and share. Mm-hmm. And it's good practice as well to perfect your storytelling skills. And
that's so important, putting yourself out there, because that's how because you put your best version out there. Yeah. And then, it makes you want to rise to that. And then your what you are and your peaks becomes, you get your lows get closer to that.
And it makes you think. That's why, Colin, I love debate so much, because if someone says to me, I want to debate you about wealth tax. Okay, cool, let's debate. We'll put it in the diary. Now I need to study wealth tax. Not just study it enough to be able to understand it, but to be able to have a strong position, articulate it properly, and actually stand behind what I believe. Yes. Yeah. In the preparation for this debate, I might even change my mind. So when you prepare for a debate, everyone should debate. No, I'm not just talking about debating on podcasts or in front of an audience, but people need to learn to debate and articulate their opinions more. And this goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, when I was saying about race and politics and what would you do if you would. We should be able to have these conversations. Yeah. And social media is very much, if you don't agree with me, I'll be outraged and I'll block you and you're an evil person.
We've had this cancel culture.
Yeah.
Well, but I feel like we're coming out of that. And I'm feeling, maybe being out here.
You're coming out of it because you're in the academy, but some people are still in it.
But I think maybe partly coming out to Dubai, being in a different country. I've started saying things I probably wouldn't have said before in some interviews I've been doing.
It's good,
but hopefully I'm going to, But
definitely. You know what, though?
I feel like it's.
I hear sometimes people say, do you like Samuel Leeds? And it's like, they'll say, well, I don't agree with everything he says. It's like, I don't agree with everything I've said. You know what I mean? I don't quite get that. Or I like Andrew Tate, but I don't agree with everything he says. Like, who thinks you do? Like, are you so scared to just say, oh, Andrew Tate really inspired me? Or, oh yeah, Samuel Leeds, I'm part of his academy, great guy. In case someone goes, oh, in that case, he tweeted this in 2012. You must agree with that. Like, are we absolutely retarded? I mean, what happened to the world?
They are. People.
What happened to be able to say, oh, you're voting Labour, I'm voting Conservative. Oh, that's interesting. So what makes you vote Labour then? And be able to just articulate yourself without getting flustered, without getting hot-headed, or more likely in 2026, most people will say, I'm voting for this, and you'll say, well, why? And then they'll just curl up because they don't actually know, because they've never had to debate it.
Yeah.
They only ever surrounded themselves with people that agree with them. So I
And you
would
see
argue,
this at like these protests, and someone goes up to them and says, so why are you here? And they're like, I'm not talking to you. You're right-wing media.
Exactly. Articulate it. I mean, and the funny thing is, right-wing people will get upset with me for not being right enough.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, yeah, you're not quite one of us. But then left-wing people will get upset with me for being too much of a capitalist.
But why have we got to be one,
exactly.
one of something?
Yeah, no,
why can't we just be ourselves? And
absolutely. And I'll, you know me, Colin, I'll speak
Yeah.
completely freely. And no one's really ever... I did get a couple of people that were raising my eyebrows when I interviewed Andrew Tate, but okay. And I said, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, when I share my views, my faith, my politics, I think I can separate that from when I'm teaching someone as a mentor, when I'm saying to someone, you need to pick up the phone and call and say this, and you need to do buy, refurbish, refinance. Here's how you should do it. I can talk like that. But if I'm talking about, I'm not going to say, you should be a Christian and go to church. No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
Because that's someone's personal.
Yeah.
How can I say you should? I can say you should get a BRR. If you
If
signed up to the academy to get rich.
Yeah.
You signed up to the academy to get rich.
Yeah.
And I'm rich. So I will tell you what you must do to get rich.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you to believe in God or what God to believe in. But I will tell you who I believe in. I will tell you unashamedly who I voted for. And you asked me actually off camera about who I voted for.
Yeah, because you did make a video about...
I did. Just before Labour got in.
And you were supporting Labour because they were saying some good things about planning, reforming planning.
No, that's not 100% correct.
Go on then.
Well, you said something about, were you encouraging people to vote Labour? I think you were saying, or you were voting Labour.
Well, I thought you were. It was
no,
an endorsement.
let me tell you exactly what it was, and the video's still there. You can go back, watch it, and then maybe you could even come back and say, you disagree with what I'm saying now. But everybody was going mad because Labour were about to get in. And everybody knew that Labour were going to get in. They were, by a landslide. They were getting in.
Yeah.
Reform weren't an option, Conservative weren't an option, Labour were getting in. And I did a video and said, Labour are getting in. Labour are going to be in power. And then I talked about what does that mean for the property market. And I talked about what their manifesto was. And their manifesto wasn't amazing, but there were some things in there which were positive. And I talked about them and I said, this is what they're wanting to do. This, if they did do that, it would be quite good for property, and here's why. And I'm an optimist, so I'll always try and look on the bright side. And the video was more of it certainly was not a Labour are brilliant. It was not a I endorse Labour, and it was not a go and vote Labour. It was a Labour are getting in. What does that mean for property? Let's look at the positive. This is what they're saying. This is what that would mean. It was that kind of a video. Yeah. Now, I can go back now in hindsight and watch the video and go, because they didn't do anything they said they were going to do.
Yeah. No, you did something recently saying that they'd let you down.
Right, 6 months later, I did another video and said they said they were going to do this, and they actually didn't. But you can only look at someone's manifesto. We cannot get to a point where we say, I'm going to vote for this person because I like them. I'm going to vote for... I hate Donald Trump. Oh, which manifesto do you disagree with? What has he actually done? What you do? I just hate him. He's arrogant. Well, you're an idiot. So I didn't want to be that person that would be like, oh, I hate Keir Starmer because he speaks nasally and he's weak and he can't box for shit. Look at him. I didn't want to be that guy. No, let's look at the manifesto. Manifesto is actually not terrible. It's got some good, it's got some bad. But from a property perspective, they're talking about reforming the planning system. That's huge. I had a lot of land. Still do. Sold some of it now. But so, okay, that looks good. But then 6 months after, I said, no, actually, this is terrible. And spoke about that as well. And
they tried to push a lot of stuff that wasn't in the manifesto. The ID cards.
They did. I voted for reform. Ironically, my wife voted for Labour. Because...
I feel like back then, it was still, you couldn't say you were voting for reform. It was like, they had such a... I think lots of people...
I got a lot of hate when I...
Secret
like 2 years ago when I met Nigel Farage, I spoke at a conference with him. It was a mastermind. I spoke, he spoke, and we just shook hands, had a photo together, and I posted it. And I got a load of negativity over it. People saying, like, oh, he's the scum of the earth. Why would you associate with him? And then a year later, I'm doing videos saying, I am voting for reform. No one said anything negative at all. So maybe the tide has turned a little bit.
Yeah, no, it has.
And one of the things I would say is, though, what I am careful of, and I didn't do a video at the time saying I'm voting for reform and here's what and all that. I think for a couple of reasons. I think number one is because there are things, and there were and are things that reform stand for, which I don't agree with. And I didn't want people to get the wrong idea and assume that because I'm talking publicly about reform and endorsing them that you don't have to agree with everything they say. But maybe that was me being too cautious. But another reason why I didn't say it was because I've always been a little bit careful in the past. Maybe I've been wrong, but I've always been a little bit careful as a leader, and people do listen to what I say. And I've always been careful not to say, I'm voting for such and such a party, you should too.
No.
And then it becomes what's supposed to be the academy, neutral, multicultural, faceted, you believe this. They become together. I didn't want the academy to ever become a conservative academy, reform academy. It's like, no, I'm the leader of the academy, and the academy is neutral. And if you're Green Party, Labour, Conservative, or whatever, that's cool. You know what I mean? So I am mindful of that, not alienating people. And then you've got people that think, oh, well, I can't get into property, and I don't want to join the academy, and I don't want to be a part of a community which is all this way, because it's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for that reason, I am a tiny bit cautious before an election to die on a mountain.
Yeah. Because it's the same, I've got the podcast now, so I could, use that to support a candidate or something. Not that I've got a huge audience or that much influence or anything, but hopefully by then.
Absolutely.
And I've got some political views, and politics does well, in terms of...
It does.
So it'd be tempting to get into it, but then maybe I should try to stay more neutral, and I don't know.
I think you should just do whatever you want. Normally, your gut. I see people do both. Some people really neutral, and that works for them. Other people can get really political, and the answer is do as you feel.
I have sort of felt I am feeling less restricted. Like I should be more honest about my opinion, what I actually think.
You should,
and not care about if people disagree with me.
You should.
And because we were talking about cancel culture and things. I feel like that's coming to an end. Like. People are seeing through that now. We're entering a new.
But it doesn't matter anyway, Colin, because you're not relying on sponsors. You're a property investor. You're a businessman who runs a podcast.
Yeah.
So, if you say things that upset people, have you got sponsors?
Not yet.
So who cares?
I am trying to, but also looking at some other revenue streams.
I wouldn't necessarily want sponsors necessarily. It depends on you. That's probably we probably need to have a conversation, off camera about that, but. For me, I don't have sponsors.
Yeah, but then you've got the academy.
Yes,
which
I've
you
got.
Sell,
right,
so you are your own sponsor.
Right.
So I set something up where I can be my own sponsor. That's what I'd like to do.
You should do that. But that's the one. Not sponsors. You don't want people telling you can't say this, you can't say that. Nah, forget that. But it depends on your business model.
Yeah.
I was chatting with a guy around my house actually a couple of weeks ago. Massive, much bigger than my channel, and he's got sponsors. And I said to him, "But you've got." Now you've got people telling you can't say this, can't say that, and he's like, yeah, but...
you've some biggest podcasts in the world.
No, but everyone's answerable to someone. I'm answerable to my academy members. And he's answerable to his sponsors.
Yeah.
When I interviewed Andrew Tate, I did have academy members messaging me saying, only a few, but like asking me, what's going on? Let's do an interview about that. Let me tell you why.
Everyone has to take responsibility for what they say. And
everyone does. But also people are realising now that you can change your opinion and that's okay.
Yeah.
If I said something in 2012, I can genuinely now say, you know what? I don't agree with that anymore.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even have to be 2012. It could be
2025. It could be 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure I said stuff this week.
Yeah, I think we said the same thing in the first interview, actually. We were talking about that.
There we go, full cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's been an amazing couple of years for me. Thank you for the award. That's really... I say amazing couple of years, especially that month between the boxing, the success stories, and the awards night, all within 28 days of each other. And that's really changed how I see myself and how I see the future of the podcast. So you were instrumental in getting it started. You've been instrumental in keeping it going. So let's do this again in another couple of years.
We should do it again in a couple of years. And I want to say thank you as well, because, you know, I run my own podcast. I know how hard it is. I know how much commitment it takes. Even the skill to be able to interview people. You're a great interviewer, and I want to commend you, and also thank you for your support. So yeah, all the best with all your ventures, and you know I'm always rooting for you.
Thank you. And I just want to add one more thing. Didn't like you before I joined the academy. You know, like I told you, I've been aware of you for years, and I see the hate and stuff, and I slowly came around. And part of the reason for me doing the podcast is because I sort of want to atone for having a negative opinion of you.
Well, you don't need to atone for nothing.
No, I don't. No, I don't need to, but I want to, because I was so wrong, and I see so many other people that are so wrong.
But you know what I think it is in you, the reality. I think that there's people that are holding themselves back, and you know that they'd be really successful, and they should probably even join the academy potentially. But because I did a few videos that were a bit controversial, a bit of rage bait, they're throwing the whole baby out with the bathwater, and you're like, actually, guys, I know where you're coming from. I felt the same way, but just have a bit of an open mind, folks. And that's kind of like what you're doing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I respect
also
that.
What I see is people not having their own opinion, but just they see an opinion and they just adopt it.
Yeah.
Whereas they could just go and get their own opinion by
look at the facts.
By clicking the link in the description, join the webinar.
Do it.
See what it's all about for yourself. Don't believe what other people say.
Do it. Thank you, Colin.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you found this episode helpful. If you have, and you haven't already, make sure you click subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and let us know what you think in the comments so that I can keep bringing you interesting and valuable information through the amazing guests that I am having on the show. Also, as I was saying earlier, more importantly than that, join the mailing list, because YouTube isn't optimized to give you value, it's optimized to distract you. But I think that the content I'm trying to give you is more valuable, and I'm trying to help you build that wealth mindset. So if that is something that interests to you, don't rely on YouTube and Google to notify you. Join the mailing list, and you'll just get an email every now and then when there's a new episode available. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.